Google just had their Google I/O event, and they are now claiming that we are in the Gemini era. In this event, they went over everything they've been working on, everything they're planning to release, some of which is already released. My name is Drake Sriracha here at AI Foundations, and in this video, I'm going to give you the most important and notable things that happened in this very long and drawn-out Google I/O event. Now, if you want to stay up to date and in the know all the time with artificial intelligence news such as this Google I/O event and get the first bit of information about it, then be sure to join the waitlist for my AI community that I've been building for several months with another AI YouTuber, Productive Dude. Now we're going to have live calls, AI educational content, thriving, fun community, and it's going to be the best artificial intelligence community on the internet. So be sure to join the waitlist below. That way you can get a killer price for this group. Now, without further ado, let's dive into these Google I/O updates. First, let's take a look at all of the Google Gemini updates and advancements, some of which I may miss and have to mention later in the video, but I'm going to get through the Gemini upgrades first because that's what a lot of you might be here for. So you now have Gemini on your phone where you can actually go to the Google search bar, and at the top there's now a toggle in order to toggle on Google Gemini, which is very powerful. It's nice because you can use Gemini a lot easier when you're on the go. And a lot of the time when you're Googling, you just want to use Gemini anyway, so that would be a good use case for that. Now, the next very cool thing that they've integrated is something called AI overviews, and they've integrated this into Google after you search something. This was an experimental feature, and I accidentally turned it on a while ago, and to be honest, I thought it looked ugly and was kind of useless and annoying, but now I'm starting to like it. After they demonstrated a couple of use cases in the Google I/O event, I actually found that this would be very helpful, especially the multi-step reasoning that it has when you can give it very specific tasks to do, and it gives you the Google search results. Now, this is kind of like Google Gemini, except the results aren't AI generated, but they're actually results from Google. So if you ask it to give you a 3-day meal plan, it's going to give you that 3-day meal plan with actual Google web pages and articles from humans that have actually generated the meal plans, or just certain meals that you can do from articles that were generated by humans. So in my opinion, that was pretty cool. They also showed this example where somebody searched up a walkable yoga studio based on their specific location within a 30-minute walk, and it popped up those results on Google from a small business in their area, which that was another good use case of that AI overviews, and it made me like it a little bit more. Now, one of the biggest upgrades probably for Gemini from this event was the improved context window. Now, everyone loves so much context, and Google is actually working to have unlimited context. So this upgraded context window that they announced during Google I/O was definitely a step closer towards their goal of unlimited context. Now, for developers, you now have a 2 million token context window. That is massive. And for everyday people that are paying for Gemini Advanced, we've now been upgraded to the 1 million token context window, which is equivalent to a 1,500 page PDF. That is absolutely insane. And the last notable thing for Google Gemini, in my opinion, is that it now is available to 150 plus countries with 35 supported languages. So it's becoming available to a lot more people so they can start utilizing the power of large language models. Very cool stuff. Now let's dive into the Google Workspace upgrades. If you use Google in your everyday life and you're a big Google ecosystem person, then these are going to be amazing for you because they're starting to make the process of going through things like Gmails, spreadsheets, Google Docs. They're starting to combine everything and making the workflow much more seamless, especially with the side panel that they're introducing. But the first cool thing I wanted to mention was the Gmail searching feature that they announced. Now, this gives you an entirely new way to search your inbox. One example they used in order to show you the power of this was actually searching the inbox for receipts using the Gemini side panel. And after Gemini actually found all those receipts, it then transferred it to a Google Sheet on their demonstration, and this Google Sheets document labeled them properly. Now, this would have taken hours if done by yourself, forming all of your receipts, going through your email, typing them in one by one, but Gemini does it in a matter of seconds. Now, they also showed the other classic, hey, I was late for my meeting, I didn't show up, give me a summary of the notes of what happened in a certain Google Meet, and Gemini actually gave a summary of what happened. But I don't really find that practical. I don't think that many people are missing meetings and going back and are going to ask Google Gemini to give them a summary of the meeting. Although if you weren't at a meeting and you wanted a summary, using Google Meet, you can get a summary up to an hour long using Google Gemini of what happened in that meeting. So that is pretty cool, but I'm not sure many people will actually be using that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you would use something like that, or if you even use Google Meet for that matter. Now, the next Google ecosystem update was with Google Photos. They rolled out something called Ask Photos. And with Ask Photos, you can search for photos just as you would in Google Search, except it's going through your photo library of all the photos you've taken. And this was a feature that was already available on things like the Apple Photos and I think Google Photos as well. But instead of giving you just a bunch of photos with that search term and things that were involved in those photos, it will actually find the photo for you and upload the specific information that you're looking for. Take a look in this demo video how they actually find a license plate number through a quick search.
Say you're at a parking station ready to pay, but you can't recall your license plate number. Before, you could search photos for keywords and then scroll through years' worth of photos looking for the right one. Now, you can simply ask Photos. It knows the cars that appear often, it triangulates which one is yours, and just tells you the license plate number.
So that's a huge time saver, and I'm already thinking of multiple ways that I can use that. Very cool. Finally, in the coming months, they're releasing a side panel, as I was mentioning earlier with the Gmail feature, and this will allow you to seamlessly search for documents, emails, as I said, search through spreadsheets, and I think it is just going to be with you throughout your entire process of Google. If you're ever on a Google app, I believe the side panel will be there with Gemini, that you can ask questions about different documents on other Google apps and so on. That will be a very cool feature that we can for sure utilize if on the Google ecosystem. Now let's take a look at some of the apps and things that you can maybe mess around with right now. The first one being the NotebookLM upgrade. Now, NotebookLM is this place where you can basically create certain notebooks with a bunch of PDF files, Google Docs. In the demonstration, they showed him even having Google Slides in his notebook, which I tried using NotebookLM and I couldn't import a Google slide. I'm not sure if I'm doing it wrong or not. But the update comes when they've integrated Gemini into NotebookLM. And they showed that you could do all sorts of things with this Gemini integration with your uploaded data, like give you a quiz, a study guide, a summary. And one of the more notable things that they did with NotebookLM was with your uploaded data. They showed this super cool audio overview, and this audio was of two people talking about your data in a learning podcast-like environment, like a teacher explaining to a student. This was very cool, and I want you to take a look.
So we've prototyped a new feature with Gemini, and it's called Audio Overviews. NotebookLM is going to take all the materials on the left as input and output them into a lively science discussion personalized for him. Let's take a listen.
So let's dive into physics. What's on deck for today?
Well, we're starting with the basics, force and motion.
Okay.
And that, of course, means we have to talk about Sir Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion.
Ah, yes, the foundation for understanding how objects move and interact.
Ah, yes, this is where multimodal really shines. Now, it generated this audio discussion based on that text material. And what's amazing is that my son and I can join into the conversation and steer it whichever direction we want.
So if you're an auditory learner, this example is going to be wonderful for you. If you learn best from hearing people talk about a certain subject, and that's the way you're picking up on things, then using NotebookLM in this feature will be very cool in the future. The next thing that was announced is an AI tool that you can actually use right now, and I'll show you a live demo. This is called Music FX DJ, and you can basically create music from a single text prompt, and when you go into the DJ mode, you can adjust certain parameters, add in certain instruments. It's very cool, so I'll show you a quick example of that now, live. So over here on the left, when I'm not in DJ mode, I just have this prompt box that I can type in a prompt and get a song generated, or they call it a track. So what I typed in was meditative song, soothing and calming, flutes and guitars. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit generate, and in a matter of seconds, my song will be playing. So in about 10 seconds, the song generated, and I can just hit play. I can even go to the next track, and it'll be a little different. Very cool stuff. I can go to the settings. I have a track length. I can change it to a looping feature, which will actually loop the song. So this could be good if you're making a loop. I can download it. I can share it. I can click in here and change certain instruments just like this from this very interactive prompt box. I can make it jarring. I can make it energetic. Pretty cool. But when you go to the DJ mode, that's when it really gets fun. You can add in these different instruments and have this intensity slider over here on the left. So if I just play this one right now, it's pretty nice. Let me increase huge drop though to 2. And then it says evolving. So that's very cool, and I thought that was a fun one to play around with, and I'm glad that I could actually play around with it right now. Now let's talk a little bit about the future and the exciting things that Google is bringing us within the coming weeks, coming months, or who knows, maybe the coming years. That's usually how AI goes. Big promises, under deliverance in that certain time span. But let's dive into some of the future things that we have to look forward to from Google. First, we have an entirely new image generation model called Imagen 3 or Imagen 3. I think that nameplay there is actually amazing. I was thinking about that, how cool that they combined image generation and Imagen, the same word. I wouldn't have thought of that. Maybe AI actually thought of it, but I signed up for the waitlist, and this should be a huge improvement from where they currently are. They claim that Imagen 3 has greater versatility, prompt understanding, higher quality images, and better text rendering, so that will definitely be exciting to look forward to. Next, they showed a sneak peek of a text-to-video competitor to OpenAI's Sora model. And this is called Veo, or Veo. I think Veo would be the correct pronunciation. Now this looks pretty amazing, and it looks very similar to OpenAI's Sora model that we saw a couple of months ago, but the fact that Google is competing and making similar technology in similar applications is very cool. They also have a waitlist, which I am also signed up for. But one thing I do love about what Google is doing is it seems like they're putting all of their creativity tools like this Music FX, the Imagen 3, Video FX where you can create videos all into one platform. So for creators like myself, this is going to be very cool if you can just go to one platform, have your video generation tool, your image generation tool, music generation tool, and when you keep adding lists of tools to this workspace, it becomes very powerful and very efficient when working because you don't have to click around different tabs. You can just stay in your workspace, stay in your platform, and get your stuff done or get your ideas generated. It's a very cool concept. Now, the next cool future announcement that's coming to mobile is something called Project Astra. And Project Astra is very, very similar to GPT-4o that was announced a couple of days ago. They're claiming it's a universal AI agent to help in everyday life, and this one looks amazing for my grandparents so that when they're trying to plug in an HDMI cord to the TV, they don't have to call me, but rather they can use Project Astra, film what they're doing, and say, how do I get this TV to turn on?
Okay, let's do some tests. Tell me when you see something that makes sound.
I see a speaker, which makes sound.
What is that part of the speaker called?
That is the tweeter. It produces high-frequency sounds.
Give me a creative alliteration about these.
Creative crayons color cheerfully. They certainly craft colorful creations.
What does that part of the code do?
This code defines encryption and decryption functions. It seems to use AESCBC encryption to encode and decode data based on a key and an initialization vector, IV.
That's right. What neighborhood do you think I'm in?
This appears to be the King's Cross area of London.
As you can see, the speed, the versatility, the changing, the interruptions of conversation, how you can actually just move from one thing like making cool poems about pens to what does this code do on the computer next to it? And it's changing. It's very versatile, and I love that. Similar to the GPT-4o model, I'm interested to see how these two things compare up against one another. The next thing they showed were AI agents that can actually plan, reason, and think multiple steps ahead. And where these AI agents I think are going to stand out is just having the access to the Google ecosystem. In the example video they showed an example of returning shoes, and it went through the whole process for you, through finding your emailed receipt, creating the tracking slip, having an order pickup confirmation. It did it all for you. I'm going to show you the example because it's just amazing.
Let's start with shopping. It's pretty fun to shop for shoes, and a lot less fun to return them when they don't fit. Imagine if Gemini could do all the steps for you. Searching your inbox for the receipt, locating the order number from your email, filling out a return form, and even scheduling a pickup. That's much easier.
Now that would have been perfect for me because I'm the type of person that hates returning things. I'm just too lazy, and even with something expensive like this shoe that I bought, after 4 times of wearing it, it actually started to tear right there, and I don't even feel like returning it. That's how lazy I am. So that AI agent would have helped me a lot in this situation. And similar to AI agents, they also mentioned something called AI teammates that were coming out. And these AI teammates basically allow you to create a teammate with artificial intelligence that is in you and your coworkers or you and your friends' ecosystem that does specific things between your messages and between your shared documents. So that seems like a very interesting feature, and it could be helpful for certain use cases. Now, the last notable thing that I really want to mention that I am super excited for is Gemini having the capabilities of data analysis. They announced that Gemini is going to be able to analyze data. Finally, I've only ever used ChatGPT for this because ChatGPT has been the best for basically the past year at analyzing data. But Gemini claims that they're going to be able to perform data analysis, uploading spreadsheets, CSVs, and PDFs, and analyzing it with code in order to generate graphs and to give you proper analysis. And they also said that they're going to allow file uploads like audio and video in order to compile all of your information into one place for better analysis. So that is very, very cool. Now, there were more updates in this Google event, but in my opinion, those were the most important and most notable things that were mentioned. Now, for developers, I'm sorry I didn't touch a little bit more on that, but if you enjoyed this video, please drop a comment letting me know what you thought about this Google I/O 2024 event. I would highly appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe and like this video so that you can always stay up to date with AI, and if you really, really want to stay up to date with AI, join my sketchy looking waitlist below. I did it on Typeform in about 5 minutes, so I'm sorry about how it looks, but just join so you can be notified with the best possible price that this community will ever be at. It will be the best AI community on the internet, so stay tuned for that. And with all that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.